much for coming. Dan, do you have the slideshow all queued up?
We're set, Joe.
Okay.
Good to go.
But I was told to keep this under an hour, so we'll do the slideshow at the end just to give Casey time. See, we need the slideshow because it came out just a little while ago on Facebook that Emily and I had been, in our friendversary, we only had 14 pictures of each other on all of Facebook. So I was looking, when I was looking for pictures of Grandma Bunn, and I was going through this big wooden crate, I decided to make this slideshow of all of our trips together. And it really brought back the memories. It's hard to believe that so much time has passed by here. It seems like just yesterday that I was walking across bleachers at a basketball game at Beckman High School, and I was going over there to find a seat, and I had his car seat in my hand, and I sat down, and everybody was shocked when I pulled Emily out of the car seat because she only weighed 5 pounds, and so carrying this car seat across the bleachers was no big deal, and pulled her out of there. She was just like a little football, but. We did go everywhere together. When I was in town coaching at the high school, there were these mandatory coaches meetings at Hubble's, and remember Mary? Oh, Emily. Both of our names start with M. Yeah, Big Dave got a kick out of telling that story because Emily was just real little, but she knew something was wrong when Mary said that. The big memory that comes back is all of our trips. I can still drive, as I'm driving along, I can look over in the passenger seat and see Emily in that GMC passenger seat with all of her pillows and blankets and books and everything all situated there. We covered a lot of ground over the years. If you start here, go down to New Mexico and over to Arizona and up through the Dakotas, and then we hit Canada and the Great Lakes. So it was a lot of time together sitting in that truck. And on one of these trips, I was going to teach Emily how to read an actual paper map. Okay, I figured that's a good life skill to learn, right? So she did a real good job with it. She got us to the campgrounds, and I gave her the challenge of. She said she wanted to go to a rodeo, and I said, well, if you find us a rodeo and direct us there, we'll go. And she did really good. She found us in Cody, Wyoming. We saw all of the top 5 competitors in each event at the rodeo she got us to. But so reading a paper map, great life skill, right? Well, what would we do today if we couldn't read a paper map? Yes. But what I probably should have done during that time was spend a little time with teaching her how to drive, maybe. When she got to high school, there were a number of cars in town that came to the end of their useful life because of Emily. So I was a little bit concerned. But it was also during this high school time that I learned just how much everybody liked Emily. I heard from teachers and I heard from other parents, and I left a few spies behind in town to keep an eye on things for me. And they were all talking about how wonderful Emily was. She was a real people person. She would meet you with that smile of hers, and then she would probably try to do something to help you. So there was hope. Emily was going to be a positive influence on society. I'm sorry, that's my go-to line for my letters of recommendation. If you don't deserve, if I can't put that in your letter, then you don't get a letter from me. So I was going to be able to give Emily that in her letter because we were going to find her a career where she would serve people. It's just we just needed to have it be someplace where she could take the bus to work. So my prophecy came out partially correct. Emily. She started out. Everybody loved her as a bartender, and then when she got done with school, and she's serving people with doing hair, making everybody beautiful, and I'm really proud of what she's doing with the Riding for Success program. As it turns out, I was a little bit wrong about the driving thing. She does crazy things like last winter she drove by herself up to Minneapolis just so Helen and her could surprise me with a Minnesota Viking game. So that was a lot of drive. I really appreciated that she would do that for me. Where were we? Oh, okay. I remember. So, I guess Ryan came on the scene during the tending bar days, and this was there was I'd only met Ryan a couple of times and a day came along where I needed to borrow his truck, and so we traded vehicles for the day. And later in the day, when I was talking to Helen on the phone, she said, "You let him drive your truck, your car?" And and see, at the time, my WRX was brand new. It's now 8 years old and all dented up, but so that tells you a little bit how long we've been waiting for this day.
In a good way.
But back to the, but yeah, I said, well, yeah, why wouldn't I let him drive my car? You see, it was just, he was a genuine Iowa boy, and just growing up in Iowa doesn't make you an Iowa boy, but that's a lecture for another day. He did pass the initial test, and I knew that he knew how to drive stuff, and he wasn't going to let anything happen to my car. And so as time, and that day went fine, and as time passed on, it took a little bit longer. It wasn't just an obvious conclusion for me, but I have concluded that he's not going to let anything happen to my daughter either. But yes, I am happy that this day has come. I think they're going to make a very good team together. They're both very talented and hardworking, and they have a very bright future as long as they continue to make time for each other and support each other. So, allow me to make one more observation. This is another recollection. Emily and Ryan were coming up to visit us for the weekend, and it's a 2-hour drive. Now, keep in mind, this is just shortly after I had put the bus to work thing to rest. And so it really caught my attention when they came pulling in the driveway and Emily was driving. And I know that's not any big deal nowadays to anybody, but to me it really caught my attention. For one, I was impressed that Emily wanted to drive that far. And I was impressed that Ryan was comfortable letting her drive that far. And so the reason I tell that story is I hope that in the future, you guys make a good team and you take turns driving. But I hope that one of these days, every once in a while, when you are trying to decide who's going to drive, you'll remember that story and remember how important it is to stay motivated to succeed and maintain complete trust in each other. And so with that, I want to wish you a lifetime of happiness.
Oh.